Now I got, yeah, I was muted. I got something. Yeah, I'm frozen. Okay. Am I back now? I, President Trump is talking about how next week is election, and so I thought, well, let's look at the history of April the 2nd. So April the 2nd is 92 days, the 92nd day of the year. 93rd if you talk about leap years. In the Gregorian calendars, 273 days remain until the end of the year. And here's some events. Okay, so pre 1600 in 1513, having spotted land on March the 27th, Spanish explorer Ponce de Leon, or Juan Ponce de Leon, comes ashore in what is now the U.S. state of Florida, landing somewhere between the modern city of St. Augustine and the mouth of St. John's River. 1755, Commodore. Hold on a second. I'm going to try to see if I can do something real quick. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm. Let's see. Sorry guys, I need to see if I can mute this person. Yeah, let me mute. Maybe that will help some of the distraction. For me, anyway. Anyway. Hey, Mary Magdalene. Good to see you. Yeah, let's see. Anyway, in 1755, Commodore William James captures Maratha fortress in Savarnaburg on the west coast of India. 1792. Here we go. The Coinage Act is passed by Congress, establishing the United States Mint. So it kind of like, is this the reason why President Trump is saying the April the 2nd will be Liberation Day? Because we're talking about, you talk about the income tax, getting rid of income tax. You're talking about, you know, all the, getting rid of all the waste and fraudulent and fraud. And we're talking about, the gold, going back to the gold standard. We're talking about, you know, is there gold in Fort Knox? I don't think there's gold in Fort Knox. I think we have been, yeah, here we go again. I think that the gold in Fort Knox has been either given away or sent somewhere else. I do not think it's there. And I think President Trump knows that. He knows that because he knows that it's not there. How often President Trump says something, he brings it to light, and he sits there and he'll go, like with Mike Pence. I think he already knew what Mike Pence was going to do on January the 20th of 2021. He kept saying, if Mike Pence does the right thing, then. So he already knows. He already knows. It's just, how do you bring something to light? There we go. So then in 1800, have Ludwig van Beethoven leads the premiere of the first symphony in Vienna, the 1801 French Revolutionary War, the Battle of Copenhagen, American Civil War, largest in series of Southern bread riots occur. So come on. So the events of the civil unrest in the Confederacy during the American Civil War, perpetrated mostly by women in March and April of 1863 during the riots which occurred in cities throughout the southern United States, hungry women and men invaded and looted various places. It sounds like I'm not gonna, but incurred in Richmond, Virginia. 1865, American Civil War defeated the Third Battle of Petersburg forces of the Army of Northern Virginia and the Confederate government. Let's see. All right. Then we have the Canadian Cree warriors attacked the village of Frog Lake. And then the President Dmitry Sipygin, Minister of Interior of the Russian Empire, was assassinated in Mariinsky Palace, St. Petersburg. 1902, Electric Theater, the first full-time movie theater in the United States, opens in L.A. I saw something about the Electric Theater earlier today, and I can't remember what it was regarding. 1911, the Australian Bureau of Statistics conducts the country's first national census. Then the Titanic begins sea trials in 1912. American entry into World War I. President Wilson asked the U.S. Congress for a declaration of war on Germany. 1921, the autonomous government of Khorasan, a military government encompassing the modern state of Iran, is established. So then we have 1930, after the mysterious death of Empress Zuditu, Haile Selassie is proclaimed Emperor of Ethiopia. So that it looks like maybe a gene change, maybe? So. And then this guy. Then, yeah, I'm kind of curious. Her death. I thought she was. Then we have 1954, 19-month-old infant is swept into the ocean tides at Hermosa Beach, California. Photographer John L. Gaunt photographs the incident and wins a Pulitzer Prize for Tragedy by the Sea. We have the soap operas As the World Turns and The Edge of Night, 1956. 1964, the Soviet Union launches Zond 1. So it was a spacecraft of the Soviet program. It was the second research spacecraft to reach Venus, although communications had failed by that time. Then we have the 1969 LOT Polish Airlines Flight 165 crashes into the Policia mountain near Zawoja, Poland, killing 53. Charlie Chaplin returns to the United States for the first time since being labeled a communist during the 1950s, and that was in 1972. So 1973, launch of the LexisNexis computerized legal research service. How many of you knew there was something called Nexus Lexis out there, which is an American data analytics company headquartered in New York, New York. Its products are various databases that are accessed through online portals, including portals for computer-assisted legal research, and so newspaper research and consumer information. So imagine 1975, 73, that's what, 52 years. 1975, we got Vietnam. We got thousands of refugees flee from Quai Nay province in front of advancing North Vietnamese troops. We have 1976, Prince Norodom Sihanouk resigns as leader of Cambodia and is placed under house arrest. Didn't something happen recently in Cambodia? I think I just read something about something going on in Cambodia. Let's see, 1979, a Soviet biowarfare laboratory at Sverdlovsk accidentally releases airborne anthrax spores. Accidentally. Spores of Bacillus anthracis were accidentally released. Is this another false flag killing 66 plus an unknown amount of livestock? 1980, Jimmy Carter signs the Crude Oil Windfall Profits Tax Act, which is, come on, where is it? What? Windfall tax is a higher tax rate on profits that ensue from a sudden windfall gain to a particular company or industry. So let's so they're taxing the oil. Go figure. So Falklands War, Argentina invades the Falkland Islands. Alabama in 1986, Alabama Governor George Wallace, a former segregationist, best known for the stands in the schoolhouse door. What is that? Let's see, take place in Foster Auditorium at the University of Alabama in June 11, 1963, in a symbolic attempt to keep his inaugural promise of segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. So George Wallace, how about that? He saw the light, everybody. He saw the light. He knew that segregation was not the way to go. Announces that he will not seek a fifth four-year term and will retire from the public life upon the end of the term in January 1987. So basically he's been in, as the governor for what, 16 years, almost 20 years. 1989, Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev arrives in Havana, Cuba to meet with Fidel Castro in an attempt to mend strained relations. 1991, Rita Johnston becomes the first female premier to Canadian province, where she succeeds William Vander. That would, if we were to, one of the things I thought about doing, and I started to do, is to take, if you take all our Congress, and it's a big project, and just kind of do a backtrack of who was, look at the succession of these congressmen to find out how they got into office, under what circumstances. It'd be interesting to find out. I mean, Elizabeth Warren, you realize that with Elizabeth Warren, she got in because of Ted, was it not Ted Kennedy. Gosh, I can't remember now. I think it was Ted Kennedy. It was somebody. And so in 1992, New York Mafia boss John Gotti is convicted of murder and racketeering and sentenced to life. 1992, 42 civilians are massacred in the town of Bejlina in Bosnia and Herzegovina. 2002, Israeli forces surround the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem, which reminds me, y'all heard about what's going on in Kansas? That there's these Satanists that want to hold some sort of ritual in their Kansas capital. So in Bethlehem, into which armed Palestinians have retreated. So they are looking at, I guess, waiting Palestine us out. So 2004, we got Islamic terrorists involved in the March 11th, 2004 Madrid attacks, attempt to bomb the Spanish high-speed train. Okay, let's see, more recent, in 2020, the COVID. The total number of confirmed cases reached 1 million. Well, it didn't happen that fast. I can tell you that. Not in April 2020. Let's see, 2021, at least 49 people are killed in Taiwan after a truck accidentally rolls onto the track. And then 2021, Capitol police officer is killed, another injured when an attacker rams his car into a barricade. And then the school shooting. 12-year-old pupil is killed and 2 others injured by a shooter in the same age in Finland. So that's what I wanted to look at, because I don't know. There are some people that are thinking that this has something to do with why President Trump chose April. No, it's yours. I'm getting notifications, Mo. It's not you. It's mine. It's mine, and no, I know it's and it is. Yeah, I thought I muted them all, but unfortunately I didn't. Okay. So the Coinage Act of April the 2nd, 1792, established a mint and regulating the coins of the United States. So so here's the section. Be it enacted that the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States. So this is right, not very long after the War for Independence. So the representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, it is hereby enacted and declared that a mint for the purpose of national coinage be, and the same is established to be situated and carried on at the seat of the government of the United States for the time being, and that for the well conducting a business of the said mint, there shall be the following officers and persons, namely a director, an assayer, a chief coiner, an engraver, and a treasurer. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions. I wonder what we have today as a position. So section 2, it is further enacted that the director of the mint shall employ as many clerks, workmen, and servants as he shall from time to time find necessary, subject to the approbations of the President of the United States. Okay, think about this. What are we seeing? No, Elon Musk isn't elected. Well, you think that clerks, workmen, and servants are elected? Just saying. Section 3, and it be further enacted that the respective functions and duties of the officers above mentioned shall be as follows. So the director of the mint shall have the chief management of the business thereof, and shall superintend all other officers, persons who shall be employed therein. The assayer shall receive and give receipts to all meals. That's like an auditor a little bit. When you're working in government, you have to, if you go travel, you have to turn in receipts for all metals which may lawfully be brought to the mint to be coined, shall assay as much of them as may required, and shall deliver them to the chief coiner to be coined. So this is where you get your gold back, right? the standard for the gold. You bring in your precious metals like gold or silver, and you give them to the assayer. Remember the gold rush? The chief coiner shall cause to be coined all metals which shall be received by him for that purpose, according to such regulations as shall be prescribed by this or any future law. The engraver shall sink and prepare the necessary dies for such coinage, with the proper devices and inscriptions, but it shall be lawful for the functions and deputies or duties of chief coiner and engraver to be performed by one person. So what do we have? What do we have now? You remember, President Trump getting rid of all the pennies now. So it's it's going to be interesting. The treasurer shall receive from the chief coiner and all the coins which have been struck, and shall pay or deliver them to the persons respectively to whom the same ought to be paid. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. There's such a. If that's such a. I thought I had muted that. Okay, did he want to, people keep saying he wanted to date her. Did he? Let's see, where was I? The treasurer shall receive all the coins which have been struck and paid. He shall moreover receive and safely keep all monies which shall be for the use, maintenance, and support of the mint, and shall disperse the same upon warrants signed by the director. So section 4, and it be further enacted that every officer and clerk of the said mint shall, before he enters upon the execution of his office, take an oath or affirmation before some judge of the United States faithfully and diligently to perform the duties thereof. Let's see, section 5, it shall be further enacted that the said assayer, chief coiner, and treasurer previously to entering upon the execution of their respective offices shall each become bound to the United States of America with one or more sureties to the satisfaction of the Secretary of the Treasury in the sum of $10,000, with the condition for the faithful and diligent performance of the duties of this office. Okay, section 6, there shall be allowed and paid as compensations for the respective services to the director yearly salary of $2,000. Can you imagine $2,000 per year? To the assayer, a yearly salary of $1,500. To the chief coiner, a salary of $1,500. To the engraver, $1,200. To the treasurer, a yearly salary of $1,200. To each clerk who may be employed, a yearly salary not exceeding $500. And to the several subordinate workmen and servants, such wages and allowance as are customary and reasonable. Here we go, reasonable, according to their respective stations and occupations. Section 7 says that the accounts of the officers and persons employed in and about the said mint and for services performed in relation, and all other accounts concerning the business and administration shall be adjusted and settled in the Treasury Department and a quarter yearly account. So here we go. There should be every 4 months, they should be the Treasury should have an audit. But when's the last time there was an audit? We don't know, or we do know, but it's been decades ago, right? See, that once a year, a report of the transactions of the mint, accompanied by settlement, which shall have been from time to time been made, duly certified by the comptroller of the Treasury, to be laid before Congress. So Congress has been falling down on their jobs for decades. The Treasury should have been audited 4 times a year. Once a year, they should have been a report made to Congress. That hasn't happened. I'm not going to read the rest of it because I see that I just, what is significant? Why is this significant? And why are you blocking? Okay, and what is the significance? Oh, here we go. Here's section 14, that it shall be lawful for any person or persons to bring to the mint gold and silver bullion in order to their being coined. So you could bring silver and gold as bullion. So what is the significance of this, and how is this going to affect Liberation Day? You ask, I don't know, but I just thought it was interesting because people are. Oh, what did that? Hey, get out of there. Okay, so I'm kind of sort of moving topic. So I saw this was, and here's an interesting story about the peanut bread and what have you. So we have a couple. That's a good question, Dynamax. I don't know if they're gonna not do their job. I mean, is there any reasons why we should have an inspector general? Okay, so kind of to change course a little bit, and then I got some other things, but I just this is more of a human interest story. I just thought so. This couple, after living in the U.S. for 35 years and raising three citizens, oh my gosh, these parents got deported to Colombia. That's probably thinking of with you. Remember the stay in history. So their kids went back. The kids could be go. Why don't the kids get deported? Okay, why can't I get rid of this ad? All right. Okay, so Gladys and Nelson Gonzalez have called the United States home since 1989. The three daughters, now grown, are all born in California. The couple led Bible studies at their Southern California church and volunteered at food pantries during, the C-19 pandemic. For nearly 4 decades, they have built a life here, raising three daughters, giving back to their community, and recently welcoming their first grandchild. Their daughter, Stephanie Gonzalez, wrote on a GoFundMe page for the family. Now they are being treated like criminals. So last month, the parents checked in at an immigration court in Santa Ana, just like they have been doing since 2000. Stephanie wrote in an email to CNN. Of course, she goes to CNN. But this check-in ended in a much different outcome, or with a much different outcome. The couple was arrested and handcuffed during their February 21st appointment and put in federal custody, where they spent 3 weeks before being deported to Colombia. They did expect that they would need to depart, and were planning to do so, but not the way that it happened, said Monica Cruz, a Orange County-based immigration attorney who started working with the couple in 2018. Okay, so they were here in 1989, and they just started to work, or maybe they started working before. But I'm kind of confused about some of the timing on this. We didn't expect that they would be apprehended and held in custody. And again, it's not really unique to them anymore. It's happening across the country. Crooms told CNN, pointing to a recent immigration policy change in the U.S. 2 months into the current administration. The Gonzalez spent many years searching for a viable path to citizenship, paid their taxes, and never had any trouble with the law, according to Cruz and their daughters. Ideally, the couple would have been given time to get their affairs in order and say goodbye to the daughters and grandchild, according to Crooms, but that didn't happen. We had to go and pick up their car from the parking lot and they say goodbye, Stephanie said. So, no legal basis to stay in the U.S. Gladys and Nelson came to the United States without authorization in 1989, according to an Immigration and Customs Enforcement statement dated March the 14th. They had no visas when they arrived, Kroom said, but were granted permission to apply for asylum. So my question is who gave them permission? Was it was it even ICE at that time in 1989? Or, there's more to the story, I think. The couple was fleeing crime in their native Colombia, according to Crooms and their daughter Stephanie. In 2000, so that would have been 11 years after they got there, got here, the immigration court found no legal reason. Read this again. So, no legal reason that would allow them to stay in the United States, and they were issued a voluntary departure order. So, which gives people a certain amount of time to leave the country at their own expense to avoid a deportation order, according to ICE. They were looking for a way to legalize their status in the way that was available to them at the time in the 90s. Remember when Gonzalez, unfortunately, fell into predatory immigration practices that were pretty flagrant. I mean, guys, this all falls under Clinton. So they're mad at President Trump. So here's where the Gonzaleses did not plan to leave the United States after the order was issued. So where's this coming from? Did they say this, or according to Crooms, who said the couple's attorney at the time misled them that the order could be appealed and possibly lead to legalization. So after seeing other attorneys, they quickly learned that they were in a very precarious situation with respect to their immigration status, Crooms added. The couple has spent thousands of dollars on legal counsel over the years, and some of those they hired turned out not to be immigration attorneys at all, Crooms said. Okay, I don't know about you, but what's that saying? Ignorance is not ignorance is bliss, but it's no excuse. Is that what it is? Let me see. Okay, make some. Okay, when I try to pull that link up that you put up there, let me see if this was any better. Oh, yeah. Judge blocks Trump administration from deporting 21-year-old Colombia protester in Green. Okay, I will bring that one as soon as I get through this one. Let's see. The couple spent thousands. So Gladys 55 and Nelson 59 exhausted all legal options to remain in the U.S. between March 2000 and August 2021. That's a long time to be trying to get legalized, including reviews of the Board of Immigration Appeals in 2001 and 2018, Citizenship and Immigration Services in 2010, and the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Court of 2001, said in a statement. So for 2 decades, the couple remained under an order of supervision, Crooms added. Through the Department of Homeland Security, the program allows those removal orders to remain in the United States and check in at least once a year while they prepare to leave the country. So they still had an order to leave as far back as 2000? The couple's deportation officer had not pushed for them to depart until 2018, leveling with them that it was time to leave the country if their status couldn't be legalized, Crooms said. So when the Gonzaleses fled Colombia's capital, they feared their lives. At the time my parents left Bogota, city and country was known as the murder capital of the world, Stephanie wrote. They fled the rampant drug violence that they were forced to live in. After Nelson filed for asylum, the couple became victims of egregious immigration fraud by their initial attorney, their daughters told CNN. Their attorney wasn't even an attorney and took money, and then their office shut down for a criminal investigation, Stephanie said. So immigration law was rampant with fraud during the late 80s and early 90s, and my parents' next couple attorneys were disbarred. Getting citizenship is difficult. Well, it's supposed to be difficult. You're supposed to show that you can be a benefit to society. But here's the issue. If they were seeking asylum, I don't think that Colombia is the first safe port, right? Or am I wrong? Let's see. And my parents only had one opportunity to refile paperwork that the initial attorney filed incorrectly. So for the past 25 years, my parents were in the court system appealing for another opportunity due to ineffective counsel, Stephanie said. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeal dismissed the petition for review in 2022. Under U.S. immigration law, those living illegally in the country can take legal steps to avoid removal, according to ICE. However, once they have exhausted all due process and appeals, the aliens remain subject to final order or of removal from an immigration judge, and ICE. But the couple's daughter and attorney stressed that Gonzalez were treated unfairly during the removal process. My parents love this country, sacrificed all their money to try to gain citizenship, but were failed by the system, Stephanie told CNN. They should have at worst been given the dignity to settle their affairs and fly themselves back to a country they haven't lived in since the 1990s and not thrown into a detention center that is just another name for a jail without any knowledge of when they'd be released. Gladys and Nelson were separated and put in ICE custody for about 3 weeks at detention facilities in California, Arizona, and Louisiana, according to Crooms. Their deportation was delayed partially because of the government error, she said. The Department of Homeland Security lost their passports, Crooms said. The Colombian government had to provide DHS with travel documents that would allow the couple to be removed, added. The couple's daughters are still holding out hope. Okay, well, I mean, if they are still considered legal, I would think that I think that's one reason why President Trump was talking about, the 14th Amendment and citizenship, because based on way things are, should be, that means their daughters aren't legal. So the couple's daughters are still holding out hope their parents might be, or will be able to return to the United States one day. Stephanie said, right now the family is focusing on helping Gladys and Nelson acclimate to life in Colombia. We've been able to raise $65,000 to help my parents rebuild their new life in Colombia, but also to pay for the best attorneys so that one day they can come back, she added. The couple can't come back to the United States for at least 10 years because of a 1996 law under who? Da-da-da-da. That says anyone who has been in the country illegally for a year or more and does not follow any order of voluntary departure is subject to a bar, Kroom said. I think they will be able to come back. I just don't see that being within the next 10 years, Kroom said. And if there is a serious charge or change to the immigration law, then there's no. Crooms had accompanied the couple to their immigration check-in every year since 2018, but this year they didn't ask her to join them. They had called her. Kroom said she would have, had they called her, Kroom said she would have advised them to prepare for departure and get their affairs in order given the current immigration climate. I don't know why they didn't call me. You know why? Because you have these advocates sitting there telling these people how to try to beat the system and try to say, don't talk to anybody, don't get a lawyer or get yourself a lawyer, but don't talk to immigration, don't talk, I think they just really felt like everything had been fine in the past, adding anyone who is on an order of supervision who has to check in should anticipate that this is a real possibility for them. They may be apprehended and removed. Both illegal immigrants and permanent residents should also exercise extreme caution when traveling, Groom said. The Trump administration's crackdown on immigration violations will continue to impact people such as Gladys and Nelson, Crooms and Stephanie told CNN. That's where all these people are sitting there saying that U.S. citizens are getting caught up in all this. Along with minority U.S. citizens and immigrants living legally in the United States. The amount of people being detained and put into these places is heartbreaking, and I hope this administration realize the detrimental effect this will have on the American families. The problem is, sorry, and good people, I'm sure they was right at the time, but it still says, let's see that their daughters are citizens. The daughters should go too if did they get their legal, it doesn't say whether they got their legal citizenship. Let's see, I like free smoke. Hold on. Smoke. Okay. All right, I'm going to have to see. Um, uh, now that this is what it's sad. Let's see. Gotta bring it down. Okay. Okay, here we go. This is New York Times. I think New York has a paywall, so I can't. Here's Reuters. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. 20. Come on. All right. 20. All right. Hold on. Judge blocks Trump administration from deporting 21-year-old Columbia protester. Oh, here we go. Well, there's that one. See. Okay. See if this comes up. It's not the same dynamics, but the New York Post. Okay. So, see. See the. Okay. All right. So, the Columbia University student Macy Partition, she was arrested at anti-Israel protest. Can't be taken by the fifth. I mean, she can't, but. But these other people, like I said, glasses and everything, they were really nice people. And it's not like they were very patriotic people. And the rest. Here's another thing. Y'all remember that TV show, Americans? That talked about these sleeper cells, the came that come here to this country? And, they're basically sleeper cells. They have kids, and they go to school, and they get active. I remember that, what they say about the how art and life. So, she had me by the defense of Judge Rule Tuesday, Manhattan Field Court of the Naomi Rice Bush the shooting, restraining order blocking areas from 21-year-old mid junior Yuseo Young Chung. I don't think there's evidence that she should be a danger to the community. Bush called said court before ruling. So the notion of putting this 21-year-old who man represents the transportation is not a protected. So at that time, not for instance that China had either possessed weapons or communicated with a foreign district. So China's lawyer, C. So briefly here, so to judge his client as a current U.S. president. No matter what the Secretary of State says, she remains a permanent resident. Remember the who was the bride wanted to come back, but she had been radicalized. So Chung, who immigrated from Korea with her family at age 75, Trump administration Monday, she the feds and prisoner of the country. Well, some of these people need to go and really go into these countries and look at who they're really supporting. The part of Homeland Security Chung engaged in concerning conduct, including her restaurant in Chicago at Barb College's Millside Library. So Chung has engaged in concerning conduct, including she was arrested by New York Police Department during a pro-Hamas protest at Barnard College. VA spokeswoman Tricia McLaughlin said in a statement earlier Tuesday. She has been sought for removal proceedings under the immigration laws, McLaughlin said, and Chung will have an opportunity to present her case before an immigration judge. If there's not a consequence to this, some of these things don't get problems. People need to learn that, there's a time and place, and make sure you realize what you're doing. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Let's see.
Dab!
What?
What are you doing? What do you mean? What?
What? I don't know who you are.
You can recognize the voice?
I'm trying.
It's SoCo.
I thought who you were.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing?
Well, I'm good. I thought you were covering for Dano when you were about trying to get some folks in tonight, so I thought I'd try to be like help get you around the table up in here. I'm known for saying, "You doing? Get in here. I see you out there, like Roxy."
Yeah.
Come on, Roxy.
Well, Roxy said Roxy left me for Sunny. She said that. So.
Well, no. Well, no. Sure. We'll see what we can do. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right.
Get my phone.
I just
find.
I was just. What do you? What do you think about what's going on and everything?
Which compensated. I think that that's smart. I think that Europe has 40% of their ships through that channel where we have 3%. So it only makes sense that maybe if we're going to fight everybody else's wars, which I'm not in for, but it's like NATO 2.0.
Well, the thing is, if you go back and listen,
so what do you think?
Well, I was gonna say that if you go back to George Washington's farewell address, he said we need to stop. We shouldn't be interfering in other nations and their wars and stuff. We should be taking care of here. But U.S. has become. Let's see. We don't mind our business, so.
No, it's or is that on my end?
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You were roboting on me really bad, and I didn't know if it was you or me.
No, it's me. It's the screen recorder. It takes yeah, so it just depends. So yeah, it goes in and out. But anyhow, I was just saying that George Washington's farewell address, if you read it and read into it, he says to stay away from foreign stay out of the business of foreign nations. So, uh, who listens anymore?
Right. Well, you have all this everybody losing their minds. We got, oh, look, there's Barb. Barb, come on. Where you at, Barb? Come on in, Barb. I see you out there. Um, well, we have the issue with, like the left is kind of losing it. Like they have all these scandals going on, which to me right now, which they're trying to deflect from. But like you have the little poster boy, Harry Sism. Right now he's facing 11 different young women have come out saying that he was basically acted like one thing for the Democratic Party while he was lying to all these young girls trying to get them in bed. Then you have the largest political streamer on the left, Hassan Piker, that's been showing like Houthi and Hamas propaganda on Twitch, live on air. So all this stuff is kind of like coming out. Like then you have the Bernie Sanders and AOC during doing these rounds of like, oh look, we're the left. Come, they're doing a presidential run, but that's what they're trying to do. But if you know anything about like Bernie's hilarious because it was all about the millionaires. Then he became a millionaire, so now it's all about the billionaires. But if you dig into the storyline on like Bernie back in 2004, his wife took over as the president of this really little bitty college in Vermont. She bankrupted the college. She wound up buying a $10 million piece of property, 32 acres for all this. Oh, she wanted all these dorms and campuses. This college was already struggling. They brought her in to try and fix the finances, and she winds up driving it into the ground, paying herself a egregious salary. And then when it looked like there was no salvaging it, she got out and started blaming it on everybody else. So these people are the fakest of the fake. You know what I mean?
It's like I told. I thought I took care of that. That's annoying. Um, and I apologize everybody for the notifications. I thought I took care of that, but uh, I had my Telegram up because I had some stuff on Telegram I was going to show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think a lot of these leaks that are happening, it's a way of exposing the fake media because you still got people who hang on every single word of the media, and they just think that they're so brainwashed that they can't think for themselves. They don't know how to do critical thinking. They've been, I can remember at a time when when my daughter was in elementary school in the 90s, critical thinking, it's like, oh, parents need to stay away, let them work things out on their own. And now it's not like that anymore. It just and it too. It's regional. It depends on where you're going, and you got these people that. I mean, did you see all this protest about the Secretary of Education or the Education Department going away? Oh no, who's going to take care of our kids? Well, how about the states? Why don't the states take care of the kids like they're supposed to? And
Well, that's. I just had a conversation earlier today. That to me is my, I think, top priority is getting the Department of Education shut down and letting it go back to the states. Therefore, parents can hold these school boards to a higher standard and more accountable. They do a lot of egregious things by the auspice of being protected by teachers unions that, as you know, shuffle around pedophiles to different districts instead of just firing them. So, like, but making all the driving all this stuff back to the states gives parents more control, which is not what the government wants. The government wants to raise your children so they
that
can
HRC,
indoctrinate them, and driving it back to the states gives parents a lot more control.
yeah, remember what HRC said about it takes a village? Well, yeah, but it's, back in the day when it was the village, it was everybody with like-minded, you're like-minded, everybody agreed on what was best for the society, the what's the word I'm looking, the family. It wasn't,
Yeah, but it takes a village of people you trust. You want people
exactly.
that you trust with your kids, not people that you're like telling your kids to keep secrets from you. I see you, Barb.
Yeah.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Howdy, howdy. Thanks for popping in. You see, David posted about doing a round table, and I waited for a few minutes, and I thought I may put out a call. Thanks for popping in.
Uh-huh.
So, what are you doing tonight?
Waiting to go over and play my horses in the stable.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I want some horses.
I wish I had horses. It's a game
Oh.
of mine.
Oh, I thought you meant literal horses, woman. I was
Oh,
like,
I
ooh.
wish.
Mm,
I wish.
well, yeah, but that's all. That's my only point is I was making. It's like, yeah, it wants to take a village, but that village is people that you trust.
Right.
You know, people that you know is going to protect your kids and love on your kids the same that you would. You don't want the village trailer park pedophile,
Exactly.
and being protected by a teachers union, hanging out with your kids. So anybody that says it takes a village, be like, yeah, but you want to be the one approving of that village.
I saw a video on X this morning. I think it was a woman in Minnesota, and she had a little boy, and she was saying that next year he's going to start kindergarten. And she was telling the board she was in front of, I don't know who it was, but she was telling the board that the teachers wanted to do that stupid thing that they're doing about changing your sexes
Oh yeah.
with the little kids that young, and the parents had voted against it, and the board voted, and they all went for it.
Mm.
And now she doesn't want to put her son in this school. And I'm like, oh, I can't even imagine what that must be like. I would flip.
Well, and that's like this. The whole thing about the school system. They're the illegals. They are. They're out there scaring these kids that ICE comes. Don't. They're telling the teachers don't talk to ICE. Don't talk to any authority. Send them to the. It's like they're after the illegal, legals. If your parents are here legally, you're okay. But they're scaring the kids. They have they're I mean, it's nuts. It's incredible. I just Yeah, I mean, I can remember my parent when I grew up, and I was a bad parent because I didn't do it. But my mom always, whenever we didn't move that often, well, I'd say that, but whenever we did move, my mother would go out and meet the families, meet the neighbors if they had kids, and got to know them so that they knew. That's the reason why that parents were safe. Felt safe to let the kids run around because you had all these parents watching all the kids.
Right.
Kids thought we were independent, we're having fun, and I mean, it wouldn't take much for a parent to call up and say, "Hey, your kid is over here," or or they're throwing rocks at dogs. You gotta, you need to let them know. I mean, it I didn't. Unfortunately, I mean, I was one of those kids that I just didn't like getting in trouble. So, but that was the thing is the parents. I didn't know this until years later that you know they had a network going on and just get on the phone and say okay, and it
I
was
remember those.
I think Mo just dropped it. Let me see if this is what you guys are talking about. Mo, I see you out there. I sent you the invite. If you're free, girl, you phone in. Yeah, this is what y'all talking about.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Weichbrot. I'm a mom of two in Fairfax County. This is my oldest. And my husband and I have a difficult decision to make this fall as he is approaching preschool age, and we're faced with a decision of whether or not we are going to put our child in public school system where Fairfax County has decided to move forward instituting gender studies in elementary school. Despite having done a study group, a focus group in the community to see if parents even wanted this, and parents said no, the board voted 16-0 and said in ways. This shows clearly that they see parents not as partners, but as obstacle for their agenda. And I I have a hard time looking at him and going, "Sure, I'm going to give you over to people who do not want to partner with me and how you're going to be raised." School and education is a huge part of a child's life. And early childhood is supposed to be filled with exploration and creativity and fun, not debating issues that are for adults to handle. These kinds of topics should be introduced sensitively and by parents who are raising their children with their values, not with an ideology passed down from the top.
There you go.
Yep.
Thanks, Momo. You can come in here if you want.
So what is happening to the
Okay.
PTA? And then what the, she's talking about parents and the school partnering together. What happened to the parent teachers associations? Are they going by the wayside? I know they're also called PTOs too. Are they going by the wayside because parents are so busy trying to work that they just cannot find time to go to these meetings? I tried. I mean, it was hard. I mean, being when you lose everything, and I mean, I've been there. It was hard. I was working like 2 or 3 part-time jobs, and yet I tried as much as I can or could to be part of the parent PTO in the charter school my daughter ended up at or ended up graduating from.
It's insane.
Yeah.
When my son was in school, all the meetings that I had to go to were over his behavior because he's ADHD. And I had to fight with them over that. If I ever knew that my son was going to school and the teachers were trying to tell him that he's a girl, I would have pulled him right out immediately. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Well, it's even more dangerous than that. Now you got the little boys, especially if they're Caucasian, being told they're nothing to sit down and keep their mouth shut because their
Right.
opinions don't matter. And the
Right.
little girls are being told if you're not overly sexual, then you're, the uptight, stuck-up snob. It's not about preservation of your innocence anymore. It's about when are you going to start your OnlyFans account. So that they're
Right.
not only facing the challenge of what we did, which was bullies and being picked on, and you didn't have the nicest clothes or shoes,
Oh,
therefore people
God.
could be mean to you. That's child's play compared to
Right.
now we have the smartphones, which expose little boys to pornography. We got, and little girls can, and boys alike can be trapped by some 40-year-old pervert to send them a
Mhm.
picture that then they blackmail them over. And now we have a sitting congressman that his own son committed suicide within an hour of this happening to him because they tried to blackmail him with his own, content. It's egregious what kids are facing today. I'm sorry, and this might blow some minds and makes people. I think children. I think cell phones should be almost treated like cigarettes. Like you could
Yeah.
get your kid a cell phone to the 18.
Right. Right.
Unless it's like one of those emergency flip phones, like if your parent wanted to make sure that, say, you have a shared custody situation, or you're letting your child go spend the night with somebody for the first time, or whatever, many are like going to the movies with their friends. Like if they sell phones where you can pre-program like 5 or
Right.
10 numbers, and that's all you can do is call those numbers. They don't have
Right.
internet, stuff like that.
Right.
And that sounds horrible. And I mean, a lot of people, playing, it could be innocent, but there's just so many pitfalls for kids to fall in. I really feel like at this
It
point.
doesn't sound horrible. It sounds responsible.
Yeah.
God.
Chilling
I just
chilling
can't
them.
deal with that.
Times have changed.
I'm one of those parents that would put their kid on a leash because they don't want to stay near me and they go running off out in the middle of the street. I would be one of those. Yes.
Oh, how horrible! I mean, I could just hear something. Oh, how horrible!
Oh, are you kidding me? Yes. I heard that all the time my son was little. I was like, look, I'm not peeling his body up off of the road.
I did
And
that with.
Omar Sewer Pickle said times have changed in the schools. When I was a little shaver, I learned the alphabet song. Now the song goes like this: LGBTQ plus WTF, and
Yeah.
the O's chilling watching the rapids. Well, I'm envious. You got me. Hopefully you mean actual rapids. And like Barb got me with the put the horses up. I was like, oh yes, and you're like, oh, come here.
Sorry.
No, it's fun. It's hilarious. I love horseback riding when I was younger, so
Oh,
like
me
I
too.
love it, man. Anytime I can go, which is very, very
Yeah.
rare, because they're
I can't
expensive
write
to take care
anymore.
of.
I can't write anymore because of my pacemaker. Otherwise, I would be writing.
Oh, good grief! I don't know
Yeah.
that.
I can have my wires pulled out of my heart
That's
on good
not good.
gallop or a fall. Oh, yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's
Yeah.
not good.
No.
I actually did put my daughter in a leash when she was a toddler, just and I didn't, depending on where I was, but as she got older, and I, we would go into the grocery store, and I would be so hurry, and she'd be walking, we'd lose each other. So thankfully, the store was like small enough, or
Hmm.
it got to the point where I would say, okay, if we get lost, go to the front
Hmm.
and just
Hmm.
wait for me, because I'll come look for you. I was such a bad mom.
Did y'all guys see this video? I was pulling up my stuff to see this video. This time change at Trump. Have y'all seen this?
I haven't
Yeah.
watched it over, but I have seen some of it.
Yeah. My goodness. Barry. It's like Barry.
And Baron looks so much like
Yeah. I just thought it was so well put together. They beast him all the way up. 96. He looks the same as he did like 1996. It's like I don't know what he's doing. Like, they smack on there to sign executive order. It was just so good. I saw that when y'all was talking. I thought, oh, I need to before I shut that down. See if they.
Right. Who put that
Hey,
out?
well, did you
No, I
did you
just
see
closed
the
it. I'm
Fake.
sorry, Barb. Sorry, go ahead.
hey SoCo?
Yeah.
Did you see the portrait that they had over in Colorado that they were trying to put in the governor's mansion
Oh,
that he's told them to
they
take it down?
where they tried to make him look like Pudgy Trump. Yeah. And can I
Yeah.
be honest with you? I will be honest. I think that, and I get the outrage, and it was out of disrespect. We all know what he was doing, but I wish that he kind of would have took the JD Vance role, because the left, I think, is initially the one that tried to post a couple of those JD Vance memes to try to make fun of him, and then the right just took it and made it a meme fest. Like, we turned it into golden comedy. There was so much so that JD posted one of the memes himself. So if you take a situation where they're trying to mock you and turn it into comedy, like I
Hmm.
don't know,
Yeah.
Trump. You know how Trump put his mugshot on a shirt and sold out so many of
Yeah.
them. It's the
Right.
same thing with that portrait. I'd have been like, that's fine. Yeah, I don't mind that. Imitation is a good form of flattery. You got
Right.
close. Tell whoever the artist is. Great effort. That's what I've done.
Right.
I think the problem though is it'd be different if it was like on a shirt or something, but it's actually in like the state house.
Oh yeah,
I
they were
think
doing it
that
to
would.
be disrespectful for sure, but like I think
Yeah.
it's like when Trump's always struck me as a person that now people can get under his skin. We've all witnessed a little Rubio and the Pocahontas. He has his little catchline phrases, but to me, it's when you show that they get under your skin is whenever they I don't know. To me, it's like I would have and just makes me I would have been like what? Tell that artist good A for effort. It's
Right.
really not a lot like me, but good on her for trying. And me and the Trump administration, Don, we support local artists. So I commend her for the effort, because
Right.
that pisses them off because
Uh-huh.
they're
Well,
trying to make you bad. So I don't
okay.
know.
So here. I mean, I didn't. I mean, I just saw. I didn't. But I was it. Did President Trump actually tell him, or was it someone out of his administration tell him? That's because sometimes sometimes people will make that decision on their own without being told to do it. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
To be honest, I don't know. I know about the story. I know that it was asked for them to remove it, but I don't know if it came from. I don't know if it came from Trump himself or part of his team. To be honest, I don't. Like, it's the same thing with, like, you had Conor McGregor going there to speak up for the Irish, and like, I believe that raising awareness for the Irish people is hugely important. But watch what the media did, and there's like, oh, this idiot nut job, blah 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 blah, and like, it's like, no, this is how it goes. The government doesn't speak up for its own people. They're allowing that country to be run over with illegal immigrants. The number one name in Ireland right now is Muhammad. Okay, and so,
Really?
like, they've got, oh yeah, so they've got a problem. It was in this one district. I remember seeing the video about 6, 8 months ago. So I don't know if it was. I remember this one kind of district. Somebody walked around the town and asked the people what do you think the number one name in so and so is, and they were like Paul, or Jacob, whatever it was, Irish name, and they were like, no, it's Muhammad. So again, the Irish people are losing their culture. I don't care what anybody says. You don't get to tell me that Africans get to try and lock down their culture. The Chinese, it's understandable why they want to keep their culture, or it's Japan's anime culture. Oh, it's understandable they want to keep their culture. But if you're Sweden or Finland, people with lighter shades of skin, then you're racist if you cry out that you're losing your culture. I don't. That is literal racism to me. So
Mm.
Conor
But
McGregor come over raising awareness for it. Like, you can remember Gran Torino. Gran Torino still is, he's speaking out about it to this day. It's horrible
but
and
did you
sad.
see that? I don't know if how true it is, but did you see that the what's it? Ireland has denied Rosie O'Donnell citizenship?
Mm.
That I thought that was funny. I
Oh,
don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it was a trolling or what, but I saw that something about Rosie O'Donnell being denied Ireland's citizenship.
oh, you
Wow.
mean countries actually have immigration laws where they're just not letting any old person come over there and be like, I'm a citizen now? Oh, I don't know. Shocker. You
Mm.
know, and like, we did in America for 4 years where it was like, let's just open the border wide open and anybody come on through. Well, now they're sitting in El Salvador prisons. So good luck on that.
Let's see. Rosie O'Donnell apologizes to Irish Prime Minister after White House visit is overshadowed by her Exodus saga.
Yeah, it's horrible. Look at these
Oh
people.
man.
These people, again, I don't know how y'all feel about it, but for me, they're just so desperate to hang on to any relevancy. Like Rosie O'Donnell, make sure I get the cameras on me, speaking up for Orange Man Bad, George Clooney. Oh, now we need to, our journalists are our fighter for the truth. And, we don't need to let any government oppress the media. Well, he wasn't saying that for the 4 years Biden was in office. He didn't care that they trampled all over the Constitution and did whatever the hell they damn well please. So it's awful rich for now that Trump's in office that George Clooney now gives a damn about the truth. But they're
Mm.
just all washed up actors that their time is ending. Nobody gives a damn who they really are anymore, and they're not used to that. They want to be able to walk down the streets and have TMZ and the rest of the paparazzi stumble over themselves to take their picture, and nobody's doing it anymore because there's people, online content creators, that are more famous than they've ever been at the age of
Mhm.
22.
Or they probably pay the paparazzi most of the time
Oh,
anyway.
we know they do. We know they do by the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, that they would call in TMZ and tell them where to show up, and their own PR firms and stuff would tell them where to come because they know that any kind of camera time is relevance time. If they can get somebody in Us Weekly or In Touch magazine attention, it's just, that's what people love to reach, like a Freeman, because these guys come into Hollywood or the studio, wherever they're shooting, do their movie, and then they fade off into their little towns working on motorcycles for Kenny Reeves, or working on his farm like Morgan Freeman, and opened up a little jazz bar. They're not worried about walking a red carpet. They just want to live their lives. So that's why I think they're endearing to people. you know. But the George Clooney's of the world, Mr. ER, sexiest man alive, just doesn't know what it means to nobody give a damn about his opinion anymore.
Mm.
I feel, I mean, think about who he ended up marrying and her connections. I feel sorry for his kids. It's like, I wonder how old his kids are now.
Mm-hmm. But it's like the same thing with the Alec Baldwin situation with his wife that was raised in a private school in Boston, and then you go, let's do a pilot shoot to reality series. All of a sudden, she becomes Spanish out of nowhere. I'm speaking, you don't speaking. I'm speaking, you don't speaking. Like, this is how stupid they are. It's like, let's watch Kamala Harris find some kind of, acting like she's from the hood, or acting the other minutes. You don't know. I love you, people. I love you. Like, this is how fake these people are. It's like, just speak in your own damn accent. I don't know. But that's what they're so used to being actors. They don't know how to be genuine. That's why I believe she didn't go on Joe Rogan, because she's sitting down in front of somebody for 3 hours asking her actual questions without her having a script. Her damn mind would have short circuited, and she would have probably flown off just by the dust cloud alone to Mars herself. Elon would have been a little jealous that she was the first alien out in space, but I mean, I think that woman would have erupted. I mean, you know what I mean? Look what happened with her with Brett Baer. She was like, it's like, I don't know how to act. I have to answer a question. Oh my God, I don't know what to do. Where's my script? My little folks around me, I don't know what to say. Am I for racism or against it? I can't remember. That's just how authentic these people are. But
Don't know how to think for themselves.
no. That's why content creators are doing so much better than they are, because people feel like they're genuine. They might mess up. Hey, Sonny, you're more than welcome to come on in. So yeah, I see you out there, Mo. I done told you, but like that's the problem. Again, content creators, they understand we're human beings. We screw up. We realize we might have opinions that differ from other people, but at least you're willing to say, okay, this is my opinion. I understand if you don't agree. Or I said this last week and I messed up.
Mhm.
Those people are incapable of doing that. They'll tell you your house is on fire, and you'll look around and be like, I don't even live there. And they'll look at you in your face and be like, yeah, you do. I think I
Right.
know where my house is. Like, no, you don't. Like, it's nuts. Remember when oh God, what's her name? The Why did I just draw a blank? Search with the E. She did the daytime talk show. Lesbian lady with short blonde hair. DeGeneres, Ellen DeGeneres.
Oh,
Remember
Yeah,
when
yeah.
they did COVID and they started trying to film at her house, and it was like
Right.
watching somebody, like, that's what happens when they don't have writers. They don't know how to relate to people like us. They're like, huh? Yeah, what's this big box for that's got a door? That's a washing machine. Oh, I just thought the clothes ended up in the drawers all folded. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just they're so far out of touch with reality. That's why they can't succeed. And they don't have a
Mhm.
script. They don't know how to relate to average people.
Well, that's the reason why they're going to be propped up. And I mean, the only reason why they become quote unquote stars is because someone pays them, or they pay them to be propped up and make them look. I mean, how many people actually uh, do good movies? I understand. I didn't watch the awards, but I saw people saying, "I watched the movie that won." It's like, I couldn't even. The comments I saw were like things like, I couldn't watch 10 minutes of it.
Mm.
It's like, where, I mean, it was like they were incredulous that the movie that won top award actually won. It's like, what the heck is going on? Well, we know
Right.
that first of all, they're trying to push an agenda, and we know that they're, you know, it's all about agenda. It's all about, let's put our ideologies, let's put it out there in forefront, and what gets me is the people that do this idol worshiping. I mean, it's almost like they just. I mean, that's like when, let's see, I really didn't care about the royal family, but there was something about when Prince William and Catherine got married. It was just like, there was, I didn't, not that I just started fawning all over them or something, but there was something almost, I don't know, compelling that you just started wanting to know what was going on. And
I know what
I
you're trying to say. I believe that when William and Kate get into that position to take over the monarchy, that I will believe it'll be the first time in a while that it'll actually people will sing its praises, and especially in that country because they do exude a sort of class. She's very classy. She's very polite. She will go out and do charitable things without trying to figure out the best shot or if the camera's pointed at her like that damn Merkel lady does. God help us. But like, and then William, he was in the military, like they seem like genuine people. And knowing that you're like a king and a queen or whatever, it's got to be tough to maintain that normalcy to you, but they seem to be able to held on to it. And I understand what you're saying because Lord help England if it was like say Harry and Meghan, then you would have had US Weekly and In Touch magazine. And with William and Kate, it feels like they actually appreciate that title and they do care about the people in their country. So I think that's what
yeah, though,
I understand.
yeah, the only thing is they still have some of that. I mean, if you really pay attention to some of the stuff that they support, you see that they're part of the agenda too. But I mean, I don't know. There's just it's like when I wanted to go to Scotland, and people would be asking, well, why do you want to go to Scotland? Because are you Scottish? Well, part of me, I mean, I've been told I'm Scotch Irish, I don't know, as well as German, but I'm like, no reason. I just want to go see it. I like history. I want to see. I just want. There's just something about going to different places and looking the history, and so it was. I don't know. There was something about. I mean, I like the brogue and I like the Scottish accent. You know, and of course between Scottish and Irish, and believe me, they just like, okay, there is a difference between Scottish and Irish, so you don't want to confuse the two.
Well, I don't listen. Like, yeah, like we got some folks talking for real. Like Jacob Rothschild is William's father. Omar said that, and then unprecedented fires in South Korea tonight. Good Lord.
Yeah, yeah. I mentioned that with the Pam earlier. It's like I don't think people realize that there's still wildfires going on in the U.S. Texas has got hit now with those.
Yep, South Carolina too.
The Carolinas, New York got hit with them all within the last month. I mean, so they went, it's like, oh, we can't do any more damage with California. Let's just go ahead because, well, who's going to believe California? Because California got hit three months in a row. I mean, and it was all in the same area where I'm at.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but look at the wildfire that they're talking about. They talk about apocalyptic. I saw somebody use that name, but if you look at the picture, it's like it looks like every other wildfire you see. There's no deviation of the picture of the wildfire. It's like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah, destroyed hundreds of structures, including a 1,300-year-old Buddhist temple. Destroyed, which burned more than 43,000 acres. 5,500 were forced to evacuate from their homes. Firefighters extinguished most of the flames with the largest wildfires in the area, but the ongoing dry, windy weather, like it is weird, right? But I mean, these people, like having a fire, you have a storm, it's dry weather, people that immediately run to climate change, and then you'll have some person that comes out and says, "Oh no, this is typical for that area. If the conditions are correct, that's fires do start." The problem is like, like what happens, you would think in 2025 we have the ability to, I don't know, figure out where water is in order to put it out. But then you have like California, Gavin Newsom is so worried about affording the gel he puts in his hair. Forget the little people. Good Lord. Forget the people of California. He's a flammable candle as he walks around. If a spark got close to that wig, he would set a few on his own. But it's just, that's what they don't care at.
And you talk about California, they're raising. I mean, I know President Trump keeps saying that the gas prices are coming down, but California, they came down. I mean, here's how corrupt California is. So let's see, from mid-February to the first week of March. So for about 3 weeks, the gas price on the base was coming down. I mean, it was even because the bases are kind of based on local, and usually it's only within about 5 cents. Maybe there may be, and sometimes they've even seen local being even less than what's on base. Well, the base came down for like 40 cents, right? And the local was staying up. Well, once the local came down, the base went up. And just the other day, I got gas in town for $3.92 or 94. Today I went get gas because it was cheaper than the base. Today I went gas is back up 50 cents again. So they're doing everything they can, and they're saying, the locals are saying, well, it's because they use the additive. Summer's coming up, so they put these additives for the summer gas is coming up. So I'm like, good golly. I mean, I'm torn. I kind of like the area of California that I'm in, but I know my time in California is coming to end. But I'm like, I want to leave, but I don't want to leave. It's just crazy.
Well,
if it wasn't for the politics in California and these people that still buy into that everything's climate change, and you got these people that went out and what they changed the narrative on their protests for Tesla, because there's a Tesla dealership here. Instead of protesting Elon, they were protesting for the oil and gas company. So they were protesting in support of the oil and gas. So that's how they changed their narrative.
Well, I gotta say, see you in. So this is apparently what it's. Hello.
And Mo has joined us.
Yeah.
I was like trying to get it. It's Mo, Deb, Barb. I mean, that's women. Mo, you got to unmute, my friend, unless you walked away.
Here, I'm just doing stuff in the background, getting ready for my show.
Well, we're all going to hang in and help you with your show too.
No, Mo likes being alone. She covers so much stuff. I don't blame her, but I'd seen where Deb had posted out there, and I'd listened for a minute, and she'd already been on for her show, and I was like, well, maybe I can pop in and try to do what I do with convincing some of you lovely folks to pop in with us. And look, it's women to the rescue.
Always.
Women rock.
Always.
What are you working on, Mo? Just prepping for your show?
Yeah, and I don't even know. I got a little, I don't know, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, of course.
So anyways, right now I'm looking up Ashton Kutcher and sex trafficking.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
His address to the Senate whenever he was in, and all the people he's involved with the math.
No,
the Scientology.
It was when he was sticking up for Danny Masks and
Yeah, I wrote that letter, him and his
yeah.
wife.
But this but it's from 2 weeks ago. It has to do with him getting called to testify in the Diddy trial. So who knows if I'll even use it, but all right, I'll be quiet. Let you guys get
No,
back.
you
No,
can
No,
join in. That's why you're in
welcome.
here.
No, I think, hey, Mo, I found it interesting that the fact that Ashton Kushner, or I don't know, however you
all
pronounce
good.
Yeah,
his name.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Ashton, and he's married to Demi, who's married to Bruce. Now Bruce is now has dysphagia, and
Yeah,
so
Alzheimer's.
his second wife just put on a tribute. Apparently, he had just had a birthday, so they're I mean,
I feel bad
does anybody?
because he has dementia and
Mm.
Yeah,
he reminds me of my dad. I've seen him in a few videos, but his wife now is Ukrainian, I do believe. Mia, whatever the you know who she
Mia
is.
Kunis, yeah.
Yeah, so
well, don't you find it kind of interesting that even though Bruce Willis and Demi Moore have been divorced during the whole lockdown, she was actually locked down with him. I don't know if his second wife was there with them, but they talked about how they got together. I mean, I think it may have been the three of them. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
she was
I
there.
just
The wife, the wife he's with now is there. They locked down because of the kids, so they knew that when COVID came, that they were all going to try and shelter in place, because that's what Newscomb was demanding. So because didn't have really a lot of animosity, him and Demi always kept a cordial relationship, and his new wife apparently had no issues with her. So I think for the sake of the kids, that's why they did that, or they knew that they would be no telling how long they might go without being able to see each other. So I think from what I could understand, that it all came from a place of like genuine kind of care.
yeah.
Because I think what I've read is that Bruce even records, because of the dementia, remembers who Demi is, and when I'm sure you ladies know, and Mo, that disease is so confusing that it scares people. Like when my mom's cancer went to her brain, she would almost like get scared. Like I would have to remind her who I was. So the
Oh,
more
wow.
normalcy you can bring into their life, the less anxiety they typically have. So from what I
they
understand,
were
and
tight even when
yeah,
she was married to Ashton. Bruce, like they still always did things as a family, but their kids are a little wacky too. A rumor, like
Willow.
supposedly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Tallulah.
Tallulah, yes, Tallulah. Come
What
on.
names, man? Could you
Well, that's
imagine
like
if your
Gwyneth
parents, Barb,
Paltrow
was like, we're not going to go for Barb. We're going to go for cherry pie. You'd be like, you hate me, Mom.
or Apple. Gwyneth
Like
Paltrow
it?
named her kid
Mhm.
Apple.
I mean,
Well, I guess my kind of this, like, it seems like it always keeps converging to the child trafficking, because I know that they did that legislation, but how do you what's one of the ways that they hide behind what they really do with the child trafficking is they become the advocates.
Right.
That
And he
makes
was this tight in with the McCains. And he's also tied to a murder. Not tied to, but do you guys remember there was a lady that died and he was at her house? It was a girl he was dating,
Hmm.
Ashton, years ago. I'll have to
mm-mm,
find it. Let me see if I can find it.
mm-mm. I don't. You're not talking about the I just drew a blank on her name too. The woman that was in 8 Mile, are you? Because she was actually remarried to that other weird guy.
Brittany Murphy.
Yeah, he wasn't there. She was actually remarried to that other weird dude.
No, it was somebody else, but I did cover both of them in one night one time. So I'm gonna look it up, see if I can find it.
Was he dating her at the time?
I think,
mm,
and he had been at her house earlier. I can't remember the story. It was like he wasn't directly tied. uh I can't remember the story. I'll have to look.
I think you know me. I think I found it. Let's see. Ashton Kutcher's girlfriend was murdered in 2001. Why is her story resurfacing now? This is from 2023. The actor had been dating Ashley Elrin, a fashion student and part-time exotic dancer, for a few weeks. You know, all these people have weird shit around them, though. I mean, look at the. I remember when the first people was that early morning Joe guy, and then you dig into like his story about that in his office where that assistant or whatever ended up dead in his office, and it was weird. It was when he first started dating that Mika chick, or right around that time they started dating, and it was like, what are these people? It's like watching the Clinton kill list. Like they're all got weird deaths around them. Like I swear it was a suicide or heart attack or a botched arm robbery, hashtag, Seth Rich, something like that, where we're all sitting around going, I don't. It's like having Crook's silverware come up missing in his house because that's normal. You know what I
Trump
mean?
brought it up. Trump brought it, like, he hinted around about Joe one time when they were really going after him. He was like, didn't something happen at your place? So leave it to him. He did a little trouble.
Well, how times have changed from, again, I say that, but I almost said this, and I was the person I was going to use an example had all kinds of crap in his presidency. I was going to say how times have changed from finding cocaine in the White House, with the Bidens in there. And then I was going to say from Kennedy's time. And then the minute it started to come out of my mouth, I was like, well, not really. Kennedy and
Right.
Marilyn Monroe with his brother and the woman dying in the recession pond and then walking home. I was like, well, I don't know. I guess they're all kind of got their own controversies. That crazy time we're living in, right?
Mm.
Sometimes you have to remind yourself, ladies, to grab the popcorn, sit back, and just enjoy the show. We hope we all don't burn to death in the process. You know what I mean? As long as we make it out alive, it's all right. Watch all these other people throwing Molotov cocktails at each other. Be like, holy shit. We'll make a little safe house out there for you, chat. Don't worry. Well, we'll bring y'all Miss the Landrys out there. I see the GN, but I think that still means good night if I'm not too old. I have to shout them out. But yeah, so.
Oh, yeah, good night. You can never know which one it is when they're under the dual name.
I feel like I'm getting old. The people will put those acronyms out there, and I'll be like, does that mean what I think it means, or is there a new one? You know you're aging when you have to Google it.
That's no excuse.
You know what I mean, though? Like, you ever done? I know y'all done that before, where somebody's text you something, like be it your kids or your niece or whatever, and they're like, BNCBBD, and you're like, what? And your head's like, oh my God, what the be back, talk to you later. Oh, okay.
Right.
Like, use words, kids.
Yeah. That's like anti-ballistic missile, ABM, oh, what's an ABM? I mean, military has acronyms for everything. And it's like,
so does the police department. So. It is a wild night, ladies. Trying to get y'all pumped.
Well, thank you. I want to say thank you to Barb and SoCo for coming on and just keeping me company for this last hour, because can you believe it's almost time to turn it over to Mo?
Yes, ma'am.
No problem.
Thank you. Yes, for sure. I want to keep you company.
Yeah, it's always fun to have more, because it's like with everything going on, it's like, again, it's like I told Pam earlier, it's like so much is going on, it's hard to tell what to focus on.
Right.
I think I think because President Trump is talking about Liberation Day on April the 2nd, which is next Wednesday, I think it's going to be interesting. My guess, it's just a guess. It's going to be an interesting day. I know a lot of people are excited about it. I think they're expecting something big. They just don't know. And of course, Uh, gosh, think about the leak. Oh, and I'm going into your time, Mo. But think about the leaks, and I think President Trump and his administration are all these leaks to the White House. Remember what he did before? How did they catch these people? They would leak information to certain places, and depending on the information that was leaked and how it got back out to the American public or the Joe public, they knew where to find their leaker. And I think, and it's like they didn't learn the first time. They keep doing it. So, with that being said, Mo, if you're ready,
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just.
I guess, ladies, if you have one last question, because we're already going into Mo's show, if you have
Nope.
any last words.
I'm good.
Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. I'm gonna hang out, listen to Mo's show, and I hope everybody else does too. And thanks for letting us chill with you, Deb. Have a great night and good.
Thanks,
I was going to say
guys.
weekend. Hell, it's Tuesday. Anyway,
Yeah.
have a good week.
Keep dreaming,
Well,
I'm on
SoCo.
PSB time. Tuesday, Saturday, whatever.
I have this week off because it's spring break, and it's like, man, it's going to go by way too fast. I'm just like, I'm already thinking